Hello and welcome back to Model with Mel. This is a continuation of a previous season that I've done in the past, which means that we're going to be working on a house model that I've been working on in past lives. We never got around to finishing it, and I'm excited to continue this project today with you guys. I am live streaming my screen to YouTube, so if you want to follow along with what I'm doing in the Revit model, the way to do that is to go over to my YouTube page. I'm live streaming it there, and you can see everything I'm clicking on, what I'm modeling. Hello to everybody joining. Model with Mel is me modeling a Revit project that I'm working on live, and it's always a residential project. Pretty much, historically, it's been a residential project. That's what we're going to be working on today. And I am streaming it to YouTube. So I have done Model with Mel's in the past where I stream my screen from Instagram. Like I switch cameras and stream my screen. But I think for this Model with Mel, I'm going to try a new interactive way where if you want to watch the screen and watch the replays and follow along, you go over to YouTube. But for us here on Instagram, instead of just watching my screen and trying to figure out what I'm clicking on, I'm going to just be showing you guys my face and having a conversation and just talking. So hello to everybody joining. I'm so excited. Again, Model with Mel. Everything I'm doing is being live streamed over to YouTube. Let me flip around my screen though. I want to show you guys what I am working with, which model I'm working with. Alright. I hope my mic audio is good. I can't exactly tell. It's doing this weird thing on YouTube where on my little stream thing where it's like going in and out. Hopefully it's good. Alright. Welcome. I'm going to show you guys the model that we're going to be working on today. So this is the project that we left off on. We left off on the 4th episode, so we worked on this model 4 different sessions, and this is where we left off. So a lot of windows, a lot of doors. I'm going to show you guys the floor plans real quick. So the first floor, again, this is a CAD file, so how it works is my best friend Emily and I create residential houses together. She creates the floor plans in 2D, and then I bring them into Revit, and I build them in 3D, and really design the entire exterior and bring this thing to life. So we work really well together because those two things go hand in hand, creating floor plans and then bringing it to life in Revit. So let's just review the floor plans really quickly. I'm going to show you her CAD files because I haven't modeled everything on the interior. I really just set up the base for this, and then I focus on the exterior first because that's my favorite part, and this is what we need to figure out and work on creating and bringing to life together on Model with Mel. So the first floor, you can see if I click on this, it highlights blue. It's her CAD plan. So I'll zoom in. This is the first floor, and I have my whole setup right now, streaming to YouTube. But this is the first floor. Everything that's highlighted in blue is the CAD file that she has, and I import it, and then I just draw over it and make sure everything is on whole numbers, nice even things. And I haven't added in any of the smaller details like these closets, but I've started to build out the project that she has. So we have a living room, main entry stair, a garage. Again, I haven't added in any of these details in the kitchen that she drew in. Then we have the second floor, which this is again just the CAD file. I'm not switching over in Revit yet, but this is the second floor. So you can see we come upstairs. We have some bedrooms. This is a double height space in the living room. This is the master bedroom with the walk-in closet and the bathroom. So this is a really luxurious plan, a massive house, and I'm super excited to bring this to life. This is the third floor. We can see that there's not a lot of space going on up here. We have some multi-level roofs to give some dimension and some interesting elements going on to the exterior on the facade. And there's also a basement plan that she's designed, just like a playroom and mechanical gym, stuff like that. So this is the first floor in Revit. Again, I haven't built out the interior yet. yet because she has it all designed, and I will eventually, like towards the end of the project, but my main goal is to bring it in and start building it and designing the exterior. That's my jam. That's what I love to do. I love to figure out how the mass of the building's going to look, where all the windows are going to go, what the materials are going to be, how to really bring it to life and set it apart from other houses and make it stand out and just look really nice. So this is where we left off. We have some roofs on here. We started placing some windows based on the floor plans. It looks like we started really working on that front elevation with the garage doors here, but it's kind of just half done. It's not a complete thought, and we're going to finish that thought today. So again, if you want to follow along and really see what I'm clicking on, I'm live streaming to YouTube. So you can come over to the YouTube live and we can chat over there. I am going to be streaming in a continuous way on IG Live, but when I'm modeling, I can't really hold my phone, and you guys can't really see what I'm doing anyways from Instagram. So I'm happy you're here. This is going to be fun. We're going to finish designing the exterior. You can see I went to the second floor in Revit, and we have an entire, just, the main core basic walls built out, and underneath is this CAD file that Emily has designed for us. So then we have the third floor kind of outlined here as well, and none of the interior stuff that we have built out that we will get to towards the end. So this is episode 5. We're picking up right where we left off, and I'm going to go to the exterior elevation, and we're going to continue working. So if you want to hop over to YouTube, you can go to the LinkedIn. I should have posted on my story. I'll be sure to do that next time so it's easier, but my link tree, my bio has the link to the YouTube. If you search it, you can find us. So welcome everybody. Today was a great day. There's so many exciting things coming down the pipeline. I had an exciting meeting today with my alumni school to talk about getting my Revit course into the hands of their students, which is really exciting, and it feels like a really beautiful full circle moment, because 5 years ago I was just a student at that school, and now I am graduated, working in the real world, and I am going to be teaching the students how to use Revit, which is my passion. So it's really cool. It's really exciting. And this is your message that if you don't feel like architecture in the industry might not be for you, that it's okay. It's okay. There's so many things we can do with our architecture degree. So many things. So I work on building out the model. I want to talk about what I'm doing, but I know that my peeps on Instagram can't see what I'm doing because I'm not sharing my screen. I'm sharing my screen over on YouTube. So you can go check out the live stream. You can follow along, and we're going to get started. I'm going to go through, and one of the things I really like to do first is just make sure that I have windows in the rooms that I know I want windows in. There's a way to make sure that your symmetry of your whatever you're designing is going to be balanced. The only way to really do that is to start placing things and pushing and pulling them and seeing what they're going to look like immediately in 3D. So it looks like on the first floor we got to do the windows, and on the second floor we started to drop off. So I am going to switch. I want to be able to see through my walls I have placed. They're gray right now, and in order to see through my walls, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my visibility graphics, which is VV on the keyboard. Shortcut commands are so important to know. I'm going to go down to my walls, and I'm going to make sure that they're not colored in right now, because I want to be able to see the windows in the floor plan and figure out if I like the way they look on the elevation when we place them, and see how it works. So it looks like it's built into my wall type. I have them post shade gray, and I do that just because I want everything new to really stand out. So I'm just going to go in here, and I'm going to change really quick to make sure that my wood stud layer, instead of being gray, the cut pattern, I'm going to make it a white solid fill. Hello to everybody joining. I'm live streaming my screen of me modeling a Revit project on YouTube, and we're just talking over here on Instagram. So welcome. I was sharing about how my course Revit Foundations is going to be potentially going and becoming a class that students can take at my alumni school, which is really cool. I had a meeting today with the director of the architecture program, and I was sweating in my boots. I was like, oh my god. It was a really full circle moment. And I was really reminded of the fact that me 5 years ago had this idea, and I wasn't sure if I would ever bring it to life, creating Revit courses and helping students, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do it, all the things that come along when you have an idea and you're like, do I do it? But now I'm here, and we are potentially going to be in my alumni school. So that's crazy. I am working on Emily's plan right now. Bring it to life in this residential project. And she doesn't have a lot of windows placed, and I'm totally and completely adding a bunch of windows. I do not like these small windows she has in the bedroom. We want to add a bunch of windows. Hello everybody joining. I'm live streaming my Revit screen via YouTube, and we are just having a grand old time at bringing this residential project to life. All right. So I edited the windows. She had a lot of like multiple different ones, and I'm doing a specific style. I'll show you guys. I'll try and turn this around so that you guys can see real quick. Again, I don't have my screen propped up, and it's really difficult to model and hold my phone at the same time. So this one's backwards, so I just need to hit the space bar and flip it. And it's also not set up to be black, so I'm going to fix that as well. But you'll see in the first floor plan, or the second floor plan, there's just a lot of tiny windows, and I wanted to just continue this double hung mold double window here and bring that to the other rooms as well, because I think a lot of light in the room really makes a difference, and there's really no reason that these have to be spread apart. The YouTube is Designs Unbound. There's a link in my bio on Instagram, the link tree, to watch what I'm doing. Next time I go live, I'm going to go live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And next time I go live, I'm going to link in my Instagram story the direct link to the YouTube. I didn't do that this time. I was just so excited to get started. So, alright, I'm taking a look at this in 3D. We have some windows that don't really line up now that I'm looking at it. So what I'm going to do is go to the first floor, and if there's windows in the elevation that really looked staggered and jagged like these do in the back elevation here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this, and this is a great placement on the first floor. Like, we can't really move that, but I'm going to copy it to my clipboard up here, and then I'm going to paste it to the second floor in the same spot. So that's like a quick little trick you can do. And now we'll see that it's in the same spot on the second floor, and in the elevation it's perfectly aligned and it's balanced. So that is a better way to get things to look aligned, is just by copying them in the spot you want it to be on one floor, and then copying it and pasting it to whatever level. And you could do it really easily the way that I just showed you. People who work on like really big apartment complexes, can you imagine like like all the floors are probably really similar, not having the ability to just copy and paste. That'd be kind of crazy. So that is really helpful for people who are working on really, really big projects. When you're copying and pasting just a bunch of windows or a bunch of the same thing to every single floor, you can literally just go in and use that tool I just showed you and copy and paste everything up. So again, let's take a look at the windows. I think this is looking good. I'm going to copy this to, let's see, the third floor doesn't have a window. Oh, it does. We're going to put a window there as well. So I'm going to do that same thing, copy to clipboard, align to selected level, and then you can select multiple, but I'm only going to do this for the third floor. And then we're going to have something way more would load. There we go. So this kind of tower here on the corner has something similar happening on the back there. So I like that there's language that's similar on the elevation, but on different sides of the elevation, it sort of ties it together. I mean, the windows itself tie it together, but it's also nice to have that as well. So I went in and thought I changed all these windows so that they were black on the exterior. So if they're ever showing up like a different color than black, I know I just have to press the space bar and have to flip the orientation of it. This window, on the other hand, I just added. It's in the bathroom on the second floor up here. There's a tub, so I definitely do want to keep it higher up. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into edit type, and I'm just going to change the color of it. So we can see exterior trim. These windows, by the way, are from Anderson. They are amazing. I love them. Anderson windows and doors. They have an entire I can't tell if my stream stopped on YouTube. Sorry, guys. I'm also streaming to YouTube, and it looks like my stream just ended. I don't really know why, but it's okay. Alright, I just reloaded my YouTube because it was not loading. Sorry to anybody that's also on YouTube. Hi, I switched from Insta. Hi, welcome. Hi, welcome everybody on YouTube. Alright, thanks Maria. Oh, alright. That was weird. We're back though. Anderson windows. They have amazing window and door families. Like, look at all this customization. You can pick trim. You go and watch one of the previous live streams for this project or any of the other projects, and I will be talking about these windows and raving about them. Can you tell about the rendering process after finishing all the works in Revit? So you can actually create really nice 3D views that are renderings. They're not realistic renderings. There's a distinct difference between a realistic rendering, like a photorealistic rendering, and just like your generic run-of-the-mill rendering, graphic, so to speak, 3D graphic. And Revit can make some really nice 3D graphics. So I'm going to just go in and change these materials while I talk about that. But I personally have a preset, like, sketchy view setting, and I use that for any of my graphic 3D views that I'm just taking from Revit if I'm not going to be doing a photorealistic render. If I'm doing a photorealistic render, I use Lumion. And the reason that I use Lumion is because I actually have Revit LT Lite. And with Revit Lite, you cannot use any plugins. So I can't use Enscape. That's a plugin. Pretty sure V-Ray is a plugin as well. But Revit Lite can accept plugins. So what I can do is I can export 3D views from Revit Lite and upload those into Lumion. And so that became my workflow. I used Lumion as a student and then continued to use it in my architecture career. And I really love it. I prefer it. it's an instant real-time rendering. Like, you can walk through it. It's so hyper realistic. Go look on the Lumion Instagram page or YouTube if you haven't heard of Lumion before, because it's just phenomenal. The landscaping is like moving as you're in the scene. Like, it's seriously next level, and the renderings are basically instant because you're in the scene, and then you do set up views and you do render them, and they do take a little bit of time sometimes depending on the quality of it. But typically, what you're in the model moving around in Lumion doing and what you're seeing there is pretty accurate to what your final image is going to be. Like, it's that crisp in the model as you're moving around live. Like, you're seeing everything pretty much as how it's going to be in your final picture. And so for realistic renderings, I love Lumion. I want to invest in Lumion. Everybody is on a subscription model these days. It used to be that you could buy Lumion, right, and you would just own it. Like, that's how pretty much everything used to be. You could buy Revit and own it, and now everything is a subscription. I can't even speak. Subscription. Alright. Oh, thanks. I use Enscape. By the way, why do you use Revit Lite instead of just Revit? Yeah, so I'm not a student, and students get Revit for free, I believe. Still, you can just download it with a student email off the Autodesk website, and you have the full version of Revit. I don't need the full version of Revit because I only work with myself on projects, and the full version of Revit is extremely expensive. The benefits of it are, again, you can do the plugins, but I don't necessarily need to do plugins. I just explained my rendering process if I'm doing realistic renderings. But the main difference for me between the full version of Revit and Revit Lite is you cannot work in a central model. And that is really what people use Revit for when you're in a huge company and you have a lot of different people working in a model, in a project at once. It's called a central model, and everybody has sort of like a copy of the central model saved to their computer. Technology, whatever. Weird technology things. But everybody's working, and it's syncing back to this main model with all the data that everybody's working on. So say you're working on the shell and core of a building. Somebody's working on the floor plan, somebody's working on the amenity spaces, and you're all syncing back to the central model, and it's all updating this information in the central model. And that is a feature, like I said, for people who are working on really big projects with a lot of people and really big companies. And I believe that the full price for Revit is $3,000 USD. The LT price is only around $500. So it is significantly less money. And I never need to work share it, which is like one of the main things that I just talked about. And I don't need the plugins because I can just export my things to Lumion. Haven't done that in a while. I really miss Lumion. But one day I'll have it back. I was just saying how it's a subscription now, so you have to pay for it yearly instead of just owning it forever, of course. So I'm just looking at these front doors, and there's a lot of mullions on them, and I don't love them. I feel like the last time I worked on this, I tried to remove them, and they weren't working. Alright. So that makes sense. Can you briefly summarize your workflow in Revit? All I've ever done is import the 2D from CAD and started from there. Yeah, so that's how I'm working right now on this project, specifically because I mentioned at the beginning, my friend Emily, she likes to draw the floor plans and think about the 2D, and then she'll hand it off to me. And I will really think about the 3D and bring the exterior to life and design the entire exterior. And we're creating stock plans and a portfolio together based on this type of, back and forth workflow that her and I have. So you will see in this project and all of the ones I do pretty much for Model with Mel is that I'm getting the floor plans from her that she does in CAD or SketchUp because that's what she likes to use. And then I bring them to life and model them for real in Revit. If you're just starting out with Revit, I always recommend that you come into the program with an idea of what you're going to create. Have an idea, have a sketch, have something, because you don't want Revit to dictate the decisions that you make design-ways just because you don't necessarily know how to do something. And if you come into the software and you're like, yeah, I'm just going to try and design something, and you're not familiar with Revit, you don't have 8 years of experience, then it's really easy to just start creating boxes, because Revit is orthogonal and you're creating a lot of walls, and unless you come in with sort of an idea or a sketch of what you want to do as a new user, you can kind of let that dictate you in a way. So if you're really new to Revit, I would recommend, sketch design. If you're comfortable doing 2D plans, like floor plans, and it's easy for you to do it quickly in AutoCAD, do it in AutoCAD. Take your ideas from trace paper, draft it quickly in AutoCAD, and then bring it in and start building it in Revit. But I just wouldn't open Revit and start right away, like trying to model a project. So I think it's great that you're starting with CAD, especially if you're still new with Revit. And I didn't really start basically I stopped using AutoCAD. This specific instance is, like I said, specific. Emily's giving me floor plans and I'm building it in real life. But if I were to do my own project without her, I would start by just kind of sketching out with the walls, laying out where I want things to be. I do use trace paper. I feel like trace paper and like sketching is the best way to just loosely get your ideas, generate ideas, figure out where you want things, and to just quickly get the overall look of something. But after I just do a brief sketch, I just go straight into Revit and start drawing it with the walls and the floor plan. And then after I do the floor plan of walls, like I lay everything out, I'll start placing doors and windows, and then I really start looking at it in 3D and going, okay, how many floors is it going to be? What's going to the third floor? What's going to the second floor? Like very much like how this model is, where not everything is going to the second floor and to the third floor. And then you start really figuring out, like, well, what is the massing of this building going to look like? What are the materials going to be? What are the roofs going to be? And going from there. So typically, the workflow that I teach is the 5-step framework, and there is a free training. I don't believe it's public on the YouTube. You have to get it emailed to you. So if you're interested in the 5-step framework, I go through the tools that I recommend you use in each step of bringing a Revit model to life. And for me, there's 5 steps. What I'm doing here with Mel is really loose, really relaxed. Like, you and I are designing together, so I'm not 100% following that framework to a T. But if you're someone that's new to Revit and you want to really understand, like, okay, what should I be doing in this second step that I'm talking about, right? It'll go through, it'll list all the tools that I recommend learning during that step and utilizing during that step. And I just give that away to you for free. I show you the bingo cards that I've created that people that take Revit foundations use, and all of that is in the free 5-step framework that you can find on my page, and then it just brings you to the link on YouTube. So I'm glad that I fixed those doors, because they definitely had too many like bars going through them. Now the middle one aligns and it just looks a lot less busy. So I'm really happy with that. These garage doors, I believe we got off Revit City last time, or BIM Object. That's another website that I really like to use for free families. And alright, let's go back to the first floor plan. It looks like the windows here, we have this one in the dining room, this tiny one in the bathroom. We have this main one here. It does interfere a little bit with this bathroom wall, but again, I'm not worried about too much about the interior. I will build it out last, but I'm not interested in doing that at this moment. I'm really just focused on building out the exterior. I understand that there are going to be some things I do have to change a little bit just to get a really nice exterior look going. And so the first floor is all windows placed. Let's go back to the second floor. Okay, so we copied up this window to the second and to the third floor so that it would look beautiful on the elevation. And this one's in place, this one's in place. It looks like there's just one over here. So let's go to the 3D and see what we're working with. So this is looking a little unbalanced. I'm going to align the top of the window, and I'm just going to press the tab button. I'm going to align the top of the windows to make sure that looks good. I'm going to go to the first floor real quick. Okay, this is a toilet, so we definitely do need that to be higher up the sill. This is the bathtub, so we're going to want it to stay like that as well. Let's see. So this is the bedroom, this is the bathtub. I think it's fine. One thing I want to see if I can do that you probably would like never notice on the elevation in real life, but when I notice here, is I want these center mullions to align with each other. So let's go select that. Okay, maybe I need to go to the 2D. Sometimes it's easier when you're working on elevations to go to the 2D view so you can have more control. All these notes are from past projects I never deleted out. I created a template from a finished project, and then there's like all these 2D lines and text left behind. So can I find the elevation? I think it was the first one I clicked on. Alright, so I'm just deleting these lines and these notes that got left behind. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that these mullions are aligned, because we can't really align the left edge of the window, but I want it visually to have something to draw the eye to, right? So I just aligned those center mullions, and now I'm going to go back to the second floor and see where that puts me. So it's not really centered in the tub, which is definitely how it was intended when it was drawn here, but I don't really think you'll notice it from a bathtub perspective. It honestly might work out better if you want to put like some shelving over here in the corner on the side that has more room, but from an elevation standpoint, it looks way better if there's something that it can like align to on the exterior. So same thing over here. Let's see. This one, on the other hand, we have a lot going on here. So on the first floor, I'm going to close out of the 3D view real quick, and I'm going to close out of some of these other elevations. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something called a window tile, just so I can look at these all at the same time and sort of see where I'm moving the windows in the floor plan and how it is looking on the elevation, because this elevation doesn't feel good to me. We're going to go through each elevation on this live and just sort of balance it out. So let's see. We fixed that. I don't know what we can do about this window. So on the first floor, that is above a toilet. I don't really feel like you necessarily need this above the toilet, so we could remove it. It's an option. We could remove this window from the bathroom on the first floor. We could move this window. I do believe it is centered in the bedroom. This window here is centered in the dining room. So we might be able to, it's going to be weird if I move this window and align the mullions like I did on the other side, just because look how far over it goes. Windows, if they're going to be in the bathroom like this, they really do make sense to be centered above the toilet. They really do. If you're going to put a window in the bathroom like this, it just doesn't really make sense otherwise. So I'm going to move it back. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take this second floor window and move that one, because we have a little bit more leeway, right? It's centered in this room on the wall up here, but again, on the inside, it's not really something you're going to notice. There's going to be furniture, and it's going to be something you more notice on the elevation. So for me personally, like, those are the design decisions I like to make and think about. It moved it over. it almost feels like these two want to align, but they don't. So that makes me think, like, do I pull it over so they do align? And again, this is why I love Revit, because if you're doing this in AutoCAD, you're trying to move the windows and visualize where they are in plan and, like, move everything separate of each other, whereas this is like, oh, here's the window. Oh, okay, I've selected it in floor plan. You can see it highlighted in the plan. And when I move it, it's instantly updating what I'm doing in all of the views. So it just makes things quicker. Imagine you're in a client meeting and they're like, oh, I want to see this, this, and this for the changes. It's instant, and they don't have to try and visualize it. So just some of the perks of Revit. Let's see. So let's move this over just a little bit. I definitely don't love that. So I'm going to move this back. I'm going to align that here, and then this one here, and then I'm just going to leave it. Just going to leave it. I think that works. So let's see what's happening over here. This is the kitchen. There's no windows on this wall. It's all cabinetry. It's a stove. Nothing going on over here. And let's just check out the third floor. So the third floor, it has a bedroom, some closets. All right, let's see what it looks like to copy this up. It almost feels a little weird. I'm not sure the space here. It's really the first floor that's throwing me off in terms of how this feels, like this window here. Maybe I just get rid of this window. Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of that window. It just feels kind of weird there. I don't think we really need it in the bedroom, in the bathroom, but we definitely need it in the bedrooms. So I'm going to do that. All right, these windows still fit in the third floor over here in this room. There is a window for this closet, but you don't really need one in there as well. I mean, we could copy this one up, but then I feel like it's a little bit too much. So we'll leave that for now. It's definitely a little weird, and we might come back to it. I have to sit on it. That's what really design is for me, is I will do stuff and then I'll come back to it and be like, does that really look good? Does that really feel good? Let's take a look at this again. But I really just go off like a gut feeling. Like, does that feel good? type thing. And that's exactly how I'm talking about it right now. So I'm going to leave it like that. Something feels off about this, but the dining room is where it is, and I don't want the window specifically in the dining room to not be centered in the dining room. That window definitely has to be centered in the dining room. And then these windows, like I said, are not necessarily centered in the room. Maybe, now that we don't have this window here, though, maybe we move them over further so that the edges just align. Yeah, I think that looks better already. See? The answer will always reveal itself to you, and Revit makes it so much easier and so much faster to see that answer quicker. So, yeah, that looks good. All right, let's switch to a different elevation. South elevation, perfect. I'm just going to save real quick. So this is the south elevation. We just worked on these windows, copying and pasting them up. Let's see what's on the first floor plan. So let's go over here. So we have this window. We have these doors here, and then we have this window here. There's a fireplace intention. So I'm actually going to just draw that in real quick. I'm going to draw in the fireplace. Alright, so I'm going to use my 2x6 wall, and I'm just going to build the outline of it, the exterior of it. And what we'll do is we'll paint it a different material. So, that's all I'm going to do. I don't want it to line up that close with the door. What size is this door? 5, 6, 8. Alright, we might have to make it a little smaller. Let's make the door 5'8". It's cutting it a little close in the plan next to this fireplace, and I want there to be enough room. Alright. Better. Let's move this over. Alright, now we can move the fireplace over. The walls of the fireplace. Alright, then we have the window here. The window is very tight. Very tight. So let's take a look. I'm just going to dimension from the exterior wall to that, and I want it to be centered. So let's take the edge of that to the center of this, to the edge of this. And then let's just take a quick measurement on the fireplace. So I just want to make sure it's on whole numbers, and I'm just dimensioning to that inside layer right there so that I can make sure that I'm dimensioning to the stud. Alright, and let's make this an even 6'6". And then on the exterior here, let's center it on that wall. Great. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this door. So we're going to take this, and we're going to take the center of it, and then we're going to take that, and we're just going to do equal. Okay, that didn't work. All right. Let's move it over a little bit. And that's about even. For some reason it's not equaling, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. Alright, let me delete that. Looking good. And this is going to be our fireplace, so I'm just going to go in with the paint real quick and change that material. So we're going to go to this little guy up here, and we're going to paint. And we're going to select our beautiful stone material that we have on the front of the project already. And we're just going to paint it. I'm going to go to a 3D view real quick and just make sure that we're painting all sides of this fireplace. That's not the right material. Alright. And then we'll just make it go up to the roof a little bit. So let's take this, take the walls for the fireplace here. I'm going to select them. And I'm going to raise them up 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet. Let's see what 5 feet looks like. Might need to be a little bit higher. Let's go 7 feet. And that'll be our fireplace. It does have to be a certain distance from the top of the roof, so that's also why I did that. So we'll leave it there for now. That's our fireplace. Go back to this view. So that's looking good. We have our first floor plan here. Hello, thanks for joining the live. I'm live streaming on YouTube my Revit screen, and we're working on a residential project together. Can't really see on Instagram when I do it, so I decided I would just have the live be on my face as I'm talking and sort of explaining what I'm doing. So we just built out a little chimney on the back of our facade. I'm going through all the elevations right now and really making sure that all the windows look good, the doors look good, everything looks good where it is, and it makes sense in floor plan. So again, just checking this first floor. The doors on the window and the windows are evenly spaced on either side of this fireplace that we have here. And we have this window that we've copied up all the way. And then let's take a look over on the second floor. these 2 windows. So on the first floor, we definitely can't add any more windows because this is, oh no, we can. There's a sink here, so we're gonna add a 3 bay window actually on this elevation right above the sink. Let's see if I have a triple window loaded in, and I do. We might have to raise it up a little bit though, because if it's for the sink, we're gonna want the sill height to be higher so it's clearing all the cabinets. So I'm placing that window. I am gonna make a duplicate of it, and I'm gonna raise it up. I'm probably gonna have the sill height be higher. Let's see what it looks like. The sill height has to clear at least the top of a cabinet, which is gonna be 3 feet. Oh, like that's a good distance to put the sill of the window when you're putting a window above a countertop, because countertops are usually like 2'10". So putting it at 3 feet gives you some room. Might even put it a little higher, honestly. So let me just adjust the height of this window. And let's take a look and see what that looks like. Alright. Definitely looks a little squat here, but we're going to align this with the top of the other windows and the elevation. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, this is the top floor plan. I'm just going to draw a little detail line for myself and sort of see where that 3-foot line is and see if we can make it any bigger. So that's a 3-foot line. So we can probably make this window 3 feet tall, because we have some room from the bottom of it to where that line is, and we're aligned at the top. So alright, let's align the top again, and that window definitely feels a lot better. I always align the tops of the windows if I can. Usually I can. It's my intention. Alright, this window, let's go to the second floor. This window, I do like that this window is centered on this roof piece here, but I don't like that this window below it feels off. So what I might do is, if I look at the first floor, I think I have a little leeway here in how I can shift sort of this window with the sink. You always want the sink, if you can, in the kitchen to be centered on the window. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to align the edge of the window to there. And I think that looks good. Let's see what it would look like in floor plan if we align the entire center. So it does shift it significantly to the left in the floor plan, but I actually think, yeah. So I think it shifts it a little bit too far over in the floor plan, and I don't think it does anything besides center on this back wall. And I do think there's actually something kind of nice about the fact that these line up, but they're not exactly perfect, because a lot of the other windows are perfectly lined up. So it's giving some dimension here, and it works better in the plan for the kitchen. So that's what we'll do. Just have these edges align. All right, and then let's look at this face. We have a door here. This is in the first floor of the garage, right here, and we have this little window here as well. And then on the second floor, it is just, okay, it is a bath. So I'm going to actually take this window and I'm going to copy it again up to that second floor. Whoops. Copy this up to the second floor. And you'll see that this is where it lands. So it's kind of in this casework area. We're definitely going to want to move it over. She's showing 2 windows, but I think we could just do 1 because there's a door here and it doesn't really work above. So maybe just putting that there. Maybe if we use a double hung, that'll work. So let's do MA for match. Let's match it to this one. Think that that's definitely better. Then we can have this double window centered on the tub. It doesn't interfere with the cabinet in the floor plan. and it just looks a little bit better on the elevation. I want to see what the distance is here because I know it's not equal. Alright, so I just centered the windows. It's looking a little bit better. Alright. And then here, well, the tub will be a little off center. Well, maybe we can move everything actually. Let's move everything. Let's take everything with us and shift it down the page, other way, so that when we do place the bathtub, it's at the center. Alright, that's good. The door got pretty close, but we're still okay in floor plan. And the window's good too. Alright. This house is going to be amazing when we're done, and you guys are going to have the ability to go rewatch all of these on YouTube and live build them alongside with me. I mean, like, you're going to have to fast forward them because I'm definitely yapping a lot, but on fast forward, you can totally follow along and build these little houses that we build together on your own. So one thing I will say about this that I don't like is it's really shifted everything in this area of the elevation way too close to the right. Now the entire thing isn't centered. So the tub can move. I just wanted to see what that looked like. Let's undo this. Undo, undo, undo. Alright. Let's back where we started. Let's take these. Okay. It's giving me warnings. Okay, let's take that and make that 2, make this 2. I want to make sure that these are actually equal on the elevation before I start worrying about this. Alright, now I'm going to take this. Hello. Welcome to the live. I am live streaming on YouTube myself modeling a Revit project that I'm working on. You can see and follow along exactly what I'm doing on YouTube, and I'm just talking about kind of working on the symmetry of this window elevation. We're going through all the elevations right now and we're making sure everything looks balanced. So now that I've placed this window and this door more equal on this little portion of the wall here, I'm going to take this window and I'm going to equal it, and now that looks fantastic. So it does cut into this a little bit still, which is bothering me because I want this casework or whatever it is. Honestly, I'm not really sure what the intention is that Emily drew, but we're going to be putting something there. So I do have to move it over just a little bit so that it clears it. And I think the solution to that is just aligning the edge of the door with the edge of the window. I am currently in the United States in the Eastern Standard Time Zone. So it is what time is it? Like almost 9 o'clock here? Alright, share screen. I'll flip over and show you guys what I'm doing. I'm sharing this all directly on YouTube. So that's really close up. Okay, let's go. This is what I'm working on right now. So this is obviously like a specific section, but when I click on the windows, it's highlighting it in floor plan. So I'm just trying to make sure that whatever looks good on floor plan in the elevation is also going to work in the floor plan. So I'm working with 3 different levels of a house that I'm designing, and I just want right now this to align. I'll show you guys the whole 3D model in a second. I just want to get this all squared away. So I'm just lining up that. And I'm not being super accurate with it because I'm holding my phone in my hand for a second just to show you guys. Okay, that snapped to it. So that works. It's not completely centered, but it doesn't really work out to be. And so if I move this over, yeah, that's worse. So we're just going to leave it how it was. All right, and this is how it looks in the floor plan. It is just a tad bit needs to be moved over. So let me just do that real quick. I'm holding my phone with my chin. For everybody that's on YouTube, you can see me doing this. It's quite funny. Alright, so I want to move this over so that this right here is clearing the screen. Clearing the cabinet. So that's good. Yeah, and then if I bring this over, I feel like those are too close, and then it's just awkward. So that works out. Now we have our window clearing this little area of the casework, and we have our elevation working. So let's go to the 3D view. I'm going to close out of the other ones. I was doing a window tile, which is WT on the short commands, just to sort of see everything at once. But this is the elevation we're working on. It's the back one. And we're going to be turning to this elevation. And this is the front of the house. And all the other work I've done to get to this point in the model is on Model with Mel Season 2, uploaded to YouTube, so you could rewatch everything and follow along at your leisure. But I think this is where I'm going to pause for today. We do have this elevation to look at, and then again, the front elevation to look at. We can make some edits and sort of finish that off next time. One thing I did notice was this doesn't have a case around it. So I'm just going to go into the windows and I'm going to edit the casement. So let's see, add some trim to it. Trim number 2, 3.5. Anderson windows are amazing. Adding that casement to it, and that actually does look good. So this is actually going into the roof here, which isn't great, but we could change the overhang of the roof, which I'm going to do real quick because it's not working with that window, and I do want to leave the window there after all that work. So, all right. Let's go to a floor plan and let's see what the overhang is. It's probably a foot. That's what I set them all at, but I'm going to change it. Oh, it's bigger than a foot. Alright, let's make this a foot. Alright, so now it's just butting into it in the casement of it, like the trim of it, not the actual window part of it. And so we're good. Way better. Alright. I don't know why there's no trim around this door. I have it set to be trimmed out. Let's flip it. It's fine. Can't really tell if why the door's trim isn't working. Oh, there it is. There it is. I saw it change. So just going to go to the elevation real quick and make sure that the head of the window and the door align, because they don't right now. And these are going to be a little lower just because this is where the garage is, and the garage does step down. Garages are always usually lower than the main floor of the house. So this is our garage line, and then this is our line level for the main house. Alright, so we fixed this roof so it's not butting into our window. We have our window and our door casements around. I want to go to the second floor real quick and just take a look at that bathtub and that window in the bathtub. Okay, good. We're clearing the casing. Everything is working just the way we want it to. I do think I could shift this over, this door over, just a little bit to make sure that it is aligned now that I have the casing properly. Alright, just go like that, a little jiggle on the arrows with the keyboard, and I have that edge aligned, and that looks good. So in the second floor plan, that works perfectly with the tub and the casework we have going on. And then this elevation, that lines up with the door. The casement's on for the door and the window. Again, I keep moving this door just to see what it would look like if it would be aligned with that, but it's not necessary. Basically, all I want to make sure is that the distance between this and the distance between this casement are easier. So you guys are going to have to let me know. Do you think that I should stream my screen even though you can't really see it? Like, it's from far away. You probably could see it now when I'm showing you because I'm like literally right here holding it with my chin. Not a real setup. But when I have it on the stand, I show my big screen. You can go look at some of the old lives of Model with Mel because I streamed the camera to a big screen on Instagram on the old videos. And just let me know, like, do you want to watch me stream from far away on Instagram? Would you rather it be like me talking with you guys and then you can go over to YouTube and see the screen of what I'm doing? Let me know because I'm trying out obviously this in a different way, a different style, and I'd love to know your feedback. So I can't dimension to this for some reason, but that's really annoying. To the edge of the door. Let's see if I can go to, it's fine. It looks like it's equal distance enough, so it's good enough for me. So that looks good. And let's go to the east elevation. Again, just deleting some of these old lingering text boxes. And some of these notes I had here. All right. Just had some ground lines drawn in. Alright, so we just have the east elevation. This is looking pretty good. I mean, I feel like all I'm really going to do is kind of copy these up, so I guess we could probably finish it real quick. I'm just going to look at the floor plan for what I have. What do I do? I'm a residential architectural designer, and I also teach designers how to use Revit. So I have an entire course, and I have workshops, and a whole library of free resources, as well as paid resources, and I hope you guys feel comfortable with the software. I know a lot of people don't learn it as a student, and it can be really frustrating, because when you go into practice, you kind of need to know it. So yeah, that's what I'm here to teach. So, it looks like this is a bedroom. There's a vanity here, so we're not going to put windows there. But if I go here... Alright, this wall doesn't have any windows on it, which is fine. This wall right here. This is here. And the third floor. Actually, it's the third floor. Let's go to the third floor. Yeah, there are no windows scheduled to be there either, which is fine. Alright, second floor. 3 windows, 3 individual windows. I don't really like individual windows. I like the mold together windows, and that's why you're going to see a lot of that. So let's copy this up just in the center here and see what that looks like in the floor plan. So I'm going to go out. I'm going to window tile it again. We are almost done with these elevations. The front one's pretty much done. I started there, so I'm just going to wrap it up after that. But always going back and forth between the floor plan and the elevation to make sure what I'm doing looks good on the elevation, feels balanced, and also makes sense in the room. So yeah, this doesn't make sense because it's in the middle of the wall, of course. So let's move it over where the intended windows were supposed to be and put it there. And that's pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the elevation. I'm actually going to align that with the center. And that looks good in the room. Like, again, in the room, you're not going to notice super big deal if it's not centered on a wall or between 2 walls. There's only certain moments where you do want something to be centered. Like, if it's on the toilet, the back of a toilet, you want the window to be centered on the toilet. Or if it's in front of a kitchen sink, you want the center of the window to be centered on the center line of the sink. The dining room is like a special moment on the first floor, so I want the window in that room to be centered on the dining table. But the other rooms in the bedroom, they don't necessarily need to be centered between these two walls here. It can be slightly adjusted so that it does work and balance to the elevation. This is what we're working with here. There's going to be no windows above this one just because that is a vanity. And so this elevation is pretty much done. This is the third floor, so I did want to take a peek on the third floor and see what was there. So it is looking like it's the stairs. So, oh, this is the living room and the stairs here. Looks like we're using this for like a couch moment. So maybe we don't add windows there. I guess we won't. We don't really need them. It's not the main elevation. It's fine. Now let's go to the main elevation, okay? The front elevation is where we started. It's where we're going to end. Alright, beautiful. So all these windows are great. The one windows that are missing are here on this upper wall. And I am going to put, let's see what we can put. Some short windows. Let's see what we have in the elevation and see what we want to put there. So in the floor plan, it's showing a little bit like 3 individual ones, 2 on either side of the bed. But we definitely want to line up with what's going on the first floor in terms of these doors and the garage doors as well. So I'm going to look at the north elevation. I'm going to look at the second floor plan. I'm window tiled in Revit right now over on YouTube, live streaming my screen, and we're just looking at both views, the second floor plan and the north elevation. Hello everybody that just joined. I'm modeling a residential plan that I've designed and created inside Revit over on YouTube. There's a live stream happening there where you can see everything I'm doing, everything I'm clicking on, everything I'm modeling. And I'm just talking you guys through some of the design decisions I'm making, why I'm making them, and how I design an exterior with a floor plan. So you can hop over to the YouTube if you want to see the replay or the live stream of it happening now, of everything I'm doing on my screen in Revit. So, first of all, a little sidetracked here, but I want this window to definitely be centered on this. Hello. And I don't even know where this window is on the floor plan. On the third floor? It's there? Perfect. Doesn't even matter that it moved. Alright, so let's add some windows here. We do have this little roof we've created over the garage. And so these windows are going to have to be a little shorter, I think, but we'll make it work. We will make it work because this is the bottom of the second floor. So these windows are going to be higher up off the ground. You'll see in order to clear the roof, they have to be like 4 feet off the ground, which is kind of high, but these also are on a wall where the bed's going to be. So it might be nice to have some like higher up, almost transomy windows in the bedroom if you're going to put the bed against this wall like it is in the floor plan. I'm going to go to the 3D, see what kind of windows we have that might look good there. It might just be like smaller version of the 2. I don't know if the 2 mold together are going to look good or if the 3 mold together are going to look good. I'm going to do the 3 that we did in the kitchen first. I just did create similar. I'm going to put them here. So right away, I'm not convinced about this, and I'm going to go to the floor plan real quick just to see. Yeah, it doesn't work with the closet, and it doesn't really work, honestly, in the elevation either. I think I need to do 2 windows. I want it to be smaller than the garage door. I don't want it to compete with the garage door. Honestly, this window's feeling a little small, but maybe we'll just make it bigger while we're just looking at it real quick, because it takes 2 seconds in Revit. So let's just do height 3, width 3. Let's just make it a square, see what it looks like. Windows take like a second to upload, but yeah, looks a little odd. Sorry, that window just looked super weird, so I had to fix it. It still looks super weird. Alright. Width, height. Maybe we make the height 3, 4. I think it needs to be a little bit taller. So I am fixing this window. Alright, that looks better. Can't 100% tell if the head's aligned, but we'll figure it out after. Oh, needs casement. Sorry. Getting sidetracked here. I noticed that little bathroom tub window we had from earlier didn't have trim around it, and it also was looking a little too small. So I'm just aligning the heads there real quick. Okay, perfect. All right. Let us take the double and make it short. So this double that we've done like everywhere, I'm gonna match it and put it here. It's gonna say error because it's not gonna fit. Didn't say error, but it's fine. We're gonna duplicate it and we're gonna make it 2.8. We'll see what that looks like. Alright, 2.8 by 6 feet. And I like that better on the elevation already, width-wise. Let's see what it looks like height-wise. Honestly, I don't even think we need a window above the door in the elevation. I think we just need to do windows above the garage doors. So it's looking good. They look a little squat, like squished. You know, so I am gonna fix them to be 3 feet tall. I think I did this for the kitchen windows that were triple. I feel like I had them at 2.8 and I was like, oh, it looks icky, so we're gonna do 3 feet. I want to check what I do for these ones. I did, yeah, 3 by 8. Yep. All right, 3 definitely is better. I'm gonna rename that, and it's 3 by 6. I always like to make sure that that's updated, my like name for it, that it matches at least the dimensions for it, and that way it's just easier to keep track of what you're doing. That looks good. Let's see the second floor. So that window, so what we might have to do is just honestly like bring this wall in when we do the interior of everything, like building out the interior that's drawn. We might just have to move some of these walls a little bit over, because this has to be centered on the garage door. It has to be. I will not accept it anywhere else. It's going to be centered on the garage door, and this wall will just move in, and it'll be fine. It will be fine. We'll lose a little bit in the laundry room and a little bit in this closet, but they have a closet over here, and they have this like grand entryway. You'll see the floor plan come to life at a later live, but this is good. So let's go to elevation and just make sure this aligns. Which is the best software in Revit or Allplan? I have not heard of Allplan. I have only ever used Revit because that's what most architecture firms use. Especially if you dream of working at a large architecture firm, they are 100% going to be using Revit. So it's always what I've used, it's always what I've learned, and it's always what I've used in practice as well. So these windows are a little bit different than what was originally suggested in the plan, but I think that it's totally fine and we can make it work no matter what. It would just look really weird to have the windows anywhere else. Like, even if we did the single ones, they're suggested, it would look super awkward because the edge of the window would be kind of like with the edge of the garage door. Yeah, it would look weird. I mean, like, we could try. We could just do it real quick. I'll just hide this real quick in floor plan just to test it out, see what the singles would look like. But I don't think it's going to look good in the elevation. I don't have them hidden in the elevation. I just hid them real quick in the plan. But yeah. Basically, it's like aligned with the far edge of the doors, and it looks not good to me. I don't like it. So even if we were to just do a single one and even align that there, it would look weird because we're going to have to make it shorter to get past the roof. Allplan is a German software. Interesting. Is it just, I would assume, for creating floor plans? Is there any 3D capabilities with that software? Yeah, so the singles still would have to be centered, and this is where they land in plan. Again, like, they wouldn't look right, even if I shortened them, or brought them up, whatever, and shortened them. Just don't like the way that looks. I think that the two look the best, and so we will just adjust the furniture in the floor plan. I mean, the bed could even be centered on this one. Yeah, I mean, you don't even have to really show where you're gonna place furniture all the time. The bed could be centered here. Bed could be centered really anywhere, because these windows are actually going to be really high up, so they're not even going to interfere with the bed or the headboard. But yeah, so we tried out those single windows and I hated them. Even if I made them like the size of this, right? Like, say I took one of these squares instead of a double, just feel like it wouldn't look good, you know? Wouldn't look good. Should I try it? I feel like maybe I should have tried it. Alright, real quick. Duplicate. What are we doing? Height. 3. Really quick. It's so quick. It's like, let's just see what it looks like. Height's 3. Width is only 2. Maybe we do width 4. I don't know. It's just a weird proportion, you know? It's like 2 windows. It's gonna just be a square, essentially, because the 2 doubles are 3 tall by 6 wide, so it's 3 by 3, but it doesn't feel super weird because it's 2. But I don't know. Maybe if it didn't have the mullions. I don't know. What do you guys think? We could always change it next time. It does match. Would match that bathroom one. Hide it real quick. Alright, let's see what it would be if we matched this bathroom window. Whoop. Whoop. Okay, bring it up. Just randomly placing it. Alright, and that's sort of what it looks like. Again, I'm not really sold either way. I do kind of like the fact that it brings that one window in the bathroom to other spots in the project, but that's not like my main factor for doing it. Like, I don't need the window to show up in more than one spot in the project for me to use it. But that is an option. That is what it looks like. So I'm going to delete these out for now and go back to what I had, because my gut right now is telling me that that looks better. And also, it's like the master bedroom, so we want a lot of grand sunlight up here happening. And again, they're going to be like transoms, because this is the second floor and this is the bottom of the windowsill, so it's pretty high up. It's saying the sill plate is, yeah, it's because it's not associated with the right level, but if we just take a little dimension, it's like 4'2" off the floor, which is pretty high. But that looks good. It's not the same width as the garage doors. The garage doors are definitely more prominent, which is what I want, and then they're a little bit smaller, but they're still centered, and they're letting a lot of light in, and I just like the way that looks a lot better. And I'm a lot happier with the overall of this. Alright. Well, I'm excited that we got all the windows and all the doors placed on the elevation. And next time, we're going to add a lot of finishing touches, a lot of trim around this entire front porch. So all this has to be finished and trimmed out. There's going to be walls here kind of capping all this off. We're going to do trim here. We're going to do some corner boards to separate some of these materials. We're going to add like a ground in. Yeah, we're going to get fancy, bring out the details. But all the windows and doors have been placed, and those are the decisions that I go through as I'm designing and figuring out what's going to work best. And thanks for being here. I'm so excited to be back doing Model with Mel every week. Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on IG Live and YouTube. And you can watch the YouTube replays, and if you guys are following along and watching the replays on YouTube, you can also just follow along what I'm doing and try modeling these projects yourselves if you'd like, which could be fun. If you do that, you should tag me on Instagram your progress so I could see it. I think that would be fun. Yeah, and next time we're going to get into all the little details. So I will talk to you guys next week.